All right, welcome back to the channel. Jeremy here with my good friend Lee Litvin. Welcome to channel, Lee. Today we're going to be talking about his journey from going from basically like 1 to 2K a month to, what did you do? About 16.5K this past month in what, less than 2 months working together?
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, it's blown me away, I must say. Your growth has just been incredible to watch, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that too. Apologies if my voice isn't quite all there. We just got back from Cancun and Tulum with the the client retreat a couple days ago, and we're all feeling a little beat up. We worked way too hard, so nonetheless, it was awesome to meet you in person, man, and have a ton of fun together and just mastermind and brainstorm and pop some bottles of champagne together on a yacht. So that said, Lee, why don't you give us a quick little rundown, quick little background, who you are, what you do, what the business is, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. This is a crazy vision for me to be on one of your client interviews. Like, this is insane. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Lee Litvin, Leezy the Gifted. So I'm a rapper and a music producer, and I teach independent hip hop artists with full-time jobs how to become their own music producers. So how to make beats, record vocals at home, and mix and master. That's my offer. And it's pretty much what I do.
Why don't we kind of take things back to like kind of 2-3 months ago? So I know I'll kind of like set the stage a little bit, and then I just want to hear from you. Because I think we originally had a sales call, and I don't know, man. I just saw a lot of potential in you. And like, I know like you couldn't join the program at the time. So I just kind of like gave you some free sauce. I was like, bro, just do this, this, and this. And then like, let me know how it goes, so I can use it as like a case study. And then you literally just took and ran with it, man. And then I know we did a couple kind of one-off calls as well here and there as you were signing clients, making some money and stuff like that. And then eventually got to the point where you're able to join the program and go from there. So what was that like for you? And what were kind of like the main problems, the main kind of things you were facing before?
Yeah. And like the timeline's really interesting. Like, I'll definitely clear that up too. Like, so we got on a sales call. I had watched your YouTube videos because, I was doing like, dude, before I had met you, before I even found your YouTube channel, I had spent over $15,000 just this year in between September 22 to this September 23, 15K before you and I ever linked up on coaches for business coaching to try to grow this music academy. And yeah, I definitely learned something from all of them. But there was a reason I went to so many different people. It was like, dude, I could never just get the fucking formula down. And one day I just searched how to book appointments for coaches or something like that on YouTube. And you weren't even the top ranked. You were like maybe 2 or 3 videos. I was like, okay, this guy looks pretty cool. I'll check him out. And I checked you out, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna keep diving into his YouTube. And then I was like, okay, this guy's pretty legit. I think 2 videos deep, booked a call, and started DMing you after I booked a call. Of just like, yo, just want to let you know I booked a call, but I also wanted to connect with you here. And then we just started DMing, and I was like, hey, like, love that you did 75 hard. I've done that many times. Like, I really respect you did that. And one night I was on my second workout. I was walking like literally down the street, and I was just like, bro, I want to get on a call right now. Like, our call's for Monday, and it was a Friday. And I was like, I need to get on with you now. You're like, okay, let's do it. And I was so ready. And like, I had no clue what the price was going to be. But anyway, got on with you. It didn't work out. We were both kind of disappointed. Fuck, like, okay. And you were like, you know what? Can we just turn this into a coaching call? I was like, yeah. You told me about the VSL framework, how that works. You told me about how the ad works, like everything. And I literally just did what you said on that call. And I landed my first 3K PIF off that like little free 45 minutes that was supposed to be a sales call. For context, I was already paying another coach 1K a month. So when that happened, I canceled him because I was like, that guy's not doing anything for me. This good looking blonde guy from fucking Canada gave me free sauce and got me a 3K PIF. Got the 3K PIF, and immediately I just said, maybe I can't pay for the guy's program, but maybe he'll do like a little coaching call with me. I don't know, which you don't do anymore. I was like, bro, I need an hour of your time. I need it. I don't even think you thought of offering it. I just was like begging you. I was like, give me an hour, bro. I just got a PIF. I need more of this. And I did 2 more of those and ended up getting like, that month I made over 7K. I was making 500 to 1,500 a month before I met you. Okay. Cold organic DMs, whatever. And then off some free shit, I made 3K. And then off a couple little calls, I did 7K in a month. Yeah. I mean, it's been like, I think it's been around like since I've officially enrolled in the program, yeah, it's only been 2 months. But I think when we started doing those coaching calls, it's been about 4 months.
Yeah.
But they were like unofficial little coaching calls that you don't even offer anymore. So yeah, so that's kind of the timeline.
I just want to say, man, yeah, I don't know what it was that I saw in you. It was just your drive, your hunger, and just your potential as well. And that's why I did it. And I remember thinking at the time, like, man, like I shouldn't really do this because like I got a whole bunch of other stuff on the go. And like I don't want to like set the precedent that like I just do this all the time. Right.
Mm,
But boy, am I glad we did.
thank you.
And I remember about a month and a half ago. So it
Mm,
was mid-August. So you're in the program at this point, and I'll actually say this too. When you joined the program officially, that put me over. That literally helped me hit my first 100K month cash. It
fuck
was you.
yes.
And yeah, so thank you for that. That was
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
But I remember you set a goal for yourself. And
Mm,
this is back when we were kind of planning the client retreat and in Mexico. And I know that like, well, I'll just kind of shut up and stop talking, but kind of you tell us, like, tell me what was going on in your head at the time and what was the goal that you set for yourself and kind of like what were the thoughts that were going on inside your brain at the time?
yeah. So first 2 weeks of August were really dry for me. Um, and I was like, damn, I really like this is tough, right? I knew everything you were teaching was going to work. I just hadn't got it. So 2 weeks were really dry. And that's when the retreat kind of came up. Yeah, I actually remember you holding a Zoom call for everybody in Summit. And you were like, hey, let's do just like a quick Zoom call to discuss this Mexico retreat. I had $500 in my bank account, nothing in a savings. And I got on that call and it felt like a fraud. And I felt like sad and everyone was talking. Like I think Alex might have been there. Like Selna was there, and Selna's a baller, right? So, and you're just like, dude, I just feel like balling out, and I'm sitting here going, I got fucking 500 in my account. I don't even know if I can make this trip. But I forced myself to go on that call and said, Lee, it was just something that said, just put yourself there anyway, and you'll. I don't know how to explain it. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Put yourself there, and you'll get yourself there. I said, you know what? I talked to Erwin, who's in our group. And I said, man, I really want to get 10K in the next 6 weeks before I go to Mexico. And Erwin's like, fuck it, why not 20? And I said, all right, cool. Like right when Erwin said it, it just clicked. I said, you're right. And once I set the goal, I was like writing it in my journal, like road to 20K, blah, blah. And then I told you one day in Slack, I was like, man, I'm really like starting to feel just super nervous and scared and frustrated. And like, I'm just getting a lot of anxiety. And you said, yeah, it's because you set this short-term goal and you're going to steal away from future Lee, and let it go, basically, right? Let the goal go. Don't worry about it. And then we got on a coaching call with the group and I asked, and you said the thing that probably has been the biggest key to my success. And I feel like the final key, inputs over outcomes. And I'm like, fucking tattooed that in my brain. I literally want to get a tattoo of it, damn near, like inputs over outcomes, bro, because I ended up hitting my goal of 20K in 6 weeks because I let it all go. And yeah, so from August 13th to September 26th, I hit 20,000 in that total time. And in the month of September, just in those 4 weeks, I did 16,500, which was fucking like, wow. In August, I did 5750. And then September, I almost more than tripled my business in a month. And literally, it's because of this one thing that Jeremy Pogue said one time, inputs over outcomes. So thank you for that lesson.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, really, really proud of you. Really happy
Thank you.
for you as well. And yeah, I know, just kind of elaborate on that a little bit. When you say you were like anxious and kind of like nervous about about not hitting the goal, basically, I think kind of what I said was like, well, that's because you're putting the goal on the pedestal. So it seems like it's far out of touch. So another thing as well is like we can't really control the outcomes. We can't control the outputs. But what we can control directly is our inputs. This principle served me extremely well too, because when I like set a goal, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this by this date and all that. Like if it doesn't happen, then we beat ourselves up. But what we can do is we have control over our inputs. And as long as we just do the things we need to do every single day, that's all we can hope for. Right. That's all we can do. And then with that as well, we're detached from the outcome, which it's kind of backwards. It's a crazy paradox because it actually attracts the outcome that we want a lot better when we are detached from getting it. So, yeah, that's wild, man. But, and I know just last week as well, while we're at the villa on the beach by the pool, sipping some coconuts, got another little payment come through as well.
Yes.
That was
That was
awesome.
awesome. That was great because that was like on September 30th. So I got to kind of put it into the September. So I was at 15,500. Then that came to make it 16. And I was like, fuck yeah, cool. Like I was hungover as fuck, drinking a coconut in the pool, trying to just like come back to life. And I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, cool. Like another 1K like coming through while
Yeah.
I'm like, Jeremy Pogue is on my left. I'm in the pool. I got a coconut and my head's pumping. It just goes to show like this kind of business model with the right people, you and everybody,
Mhm.
what can be accomplished.
Speaking of people, let's talk about that a little bit. So
Okay.
you've been such an incredible part of the community, and I want to commend you for that. I want to say thank you because just the energy you bring to the community, it's so inspirational and motivating, and just it lifts everybody else up. It's kind of like that proverb or that quote. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats. It's like
Mm.
I can very clearly see that, like inside the community, you are part of the reason why that tide is lifting. And
Wow.
I think it's pretty clear to see that tide's lifting pretty damn quickly too.
Yeah. Thank you.
But talk to me a little bit about like the community. What's that been like for you? I know you've made some incredible connections as well. And like how much of an impact has that had on your success too?
Well, I'll tell you, but I will. It's better if I show you first how great this community is. I mean, look at this group of guys here. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't get a better group. Yeah, I have this on my desk. This is like an incredible picture. But this community, man, like, bro, yeah, it's hard to put into words. Well, let me start before before the retreat, because I do want to give a shout out to Erwin really badly. Like Erwin Kronk in the community, he's been really honestly pretty big for me. We've been big for each other. He helped me reformulate who I was targeting, and we sat and he rescripted my ad with me line by line, which you have done that for me as well. But it just needed a little bit more, right? It just needed a little bit more. We just fucking like, we send WhatsApp messages that are like 30, 40 minutes back and forth to each other. Like no bullshit. Every day. It's crazy. So just want to give him a shout out. But the community too, like once I got to Mexico, so like land, see everybody, we get on the shuttle and it's like 15 minutes into it. And I'm like, my mind already exploded. Sitting next to Chase, talking to Eduardo, Selma Kim. He comes on, not disappoints, full suited and booted with like velvet red shoes. What's up, boys? Like, and just the vibe and the energy is super high. I think when I was there in person, one thing I was noticing, bro, like I kept saying this to everybody. I said the eye contact, super different, especially you, with your freaking piercing blue eyes. Like when you talk to people, bro, you're like listening. I'm like, damn, he's really listening. He doesn't think he's better than anybody. He doesn't act like he's this big, big baller who's cool. No, like you're listening, you're dialed into every convo, you respond, you're honest, you're empathetic. And then everyone else is just like that. My roommate was Eduardo, who's a peak performance coach. Just so happens, by the way, we're both fully Jewish. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that till we found out in the room. The first night we stayed up till 3:30, just talking. On the first night, Wednesday night. And every night we stayed up till like 2 or 3, just talking. That's like one of my best friends, Nick Drivis. I called him today. I called him yesterday. We talked for an hour each day. It's one of my best friends. Erwin's one of my best friends. These are people, and I'm like, Nick is going to come fly out here to California. Like we're already talking about him coming in November to stay in my house here.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, I need to go see these dudes. Mike Kaz, he's going to San Diego in March, and Nick J is there. I'm going out there in San Diego. I'm going to film music videos with Nick, and I'm going to kick it with Mike. I miss you guys already. I'm like trying to go back out and see everybody. I want to go to Atlanta to see Tom. Just the love I got for everybody, the love they have for me, it's crazy. The motivation everyone gives me, it's like, damn. Nathaniel came out a day early to San Francisco. He had a stop in San Fran. I was like, bro, I'll come swoop you up. We'll kick it for the day. We kicked it the day before we both came to Mexico. He's one of my best friends. It's just like these connections I made, it just raised my standards for who I want to be around. And it made me raise my standards for myself too. And it also made me, yeah, I'm going off a lot, but like another thing too is like I'd never been in a room with that many people where I actually believe in everybody. I'm pretty judgmental. I think a lot of entrepreneurs secretly are very judgmental on people because we don't like negativity, right? So
Yeah.
do you believe in the person you're talking to? Are they on the right path? Do you think they work hard? And are they a good person? Like, it's hard to have all those check boxes. And I was literally in a house with 20 people for the weekend where everyone checked every box. It's like, whoa, like that's made me realize the type of people I want to be around. Yeah. The community in and of itself is it's priceless.
What really stood out to me too was just exactly like what you said. Every single person there checked every single box. And that's very, very hard to come by. It's crazy to me. Like I'm so humbled literally every single day when like you see the wins channel just popping off in Slack. Like it's just going nuts. Like it's crazy. I've never seen one like that. But like just the caliber of the people that are joining the community and that are members of it, and like it blows me away. It humbles me so much. And like I'm kind of honestly like speechless because like you guys are just incredible. And like it doesn't seem kind of like what you said. It's like it seemed like we're just like friends, like actual homies, just hanging out, having so much fun. And everyone was just on the same wavelength. And it was just incredible. And another thing that was pretty crazy too is like that was 1/5 or 20% of all of my clients. That's just like a small sample. But to think that we were able to get everybody together, like that many people, and just went so smoothly, like it was pretty cool. But yeah, let's kind of paint a bit of a picture for what's next. I know while we were down there, we're always like we don't want to leave, and then we also want to plan another trip. And
Yeah.
I I got to start saving up for that. But but no, I think that we need to start doing this pretty regularly because that was like the first one, and just the in-person energy was just so different, right? And that's something that you don't really get through Zoom calls. Like to some
Nah.
degree, like you build a connection with people, but like just that in-person energy is just next level. But in terms of you and your business, like what's next for you, Lee?
Well, you know, yeah, that's a good question. It's weird because like I'm so used to setting, these number goals, and I want to keep setting those number goals more for fun because I enjoy the game and I love the game of business. At the end of the day, dude, if I'm making 8 to 10K a month, I can pay my bills. So like, I love how you say that. You're kind of, I think you use even a lower number. You're like, dude, if I'm doing 5K this month, I can pay my bills. And I love that because it takes a lot of pressure off and it makes the game fun.
Yeah.
It's like, you sit down and play Monopoly with your fucking family. If you don't win, it's not that big a deal. Chill the fuck out. So, but I do want to attack my goals too. So for me, I'm trying to hit 100K a month next year. And to be honest with you, bro, and I really wanted to share this, like the 4-hour work week laptop lifestyle never appealed to me ever. I never want to work 4 hours a week because this shit ain't work to me. So like I do music and I fucking love music. If I could just wake up and come sit and make music all day, that's what I would do. And I'm kind of like, that's my life right now. So why
Mhm.
wouldn't I want to just keep doing more of that? I want to make the #1 music production academy in the world. So that's not a 30, 40, 50K a month thing. Like I have like really big like things I want to do. And it's like, it's just not 100K a month thing anyways. So for me, I want to get to 100K a month next year. I went from 500 a month to 16,000 a month in a year. So I'm talking about 16 to 100. It's not even the same. Like it's a less big jump than what I've already done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to get to 100K a month. And I also want to finally just blow up my artist career. Like I want to get 1 million streams on a song. I want to get 1 million monthly listeners. I want to blow that up and show people it's possible. I want to do my own retreat with my friends, like a music retreat, like how we just did SA. I want to pay for an
Yeah.
Airbnb with my friends and just make music. I've had that on my list for a while. Want to buy a house, want to buy a car, Porsche Macan, Miami blue. That's the color. I want to do that. Would love to come out to Kelowna and fucking go on a hike with you. That'd be fucking lit, but I got to earn it. So I know once I get to 100K a month, I'll be able to do it. So that's a big goal for me.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah. I think from my experience, like 0 to 1 is a lot harder than 1 to 10. And what I mean by that is like getting to like 5 to 10K a month is like the hardest part. But getting from 10 to 100, honestly, pretty straightforward. It just takes a little bit of time. And as long as you just stay detached, keep doing the inputs that are required to get there, keep making smart decisions, keeping your focus narrowed, it's absolutely inevitable. because, and this might be a good segue too to something else I want to touch on, which is like your niche, your offer. It's like
Yeah,
super like weird and unique, which is
totally.
amazing. So it's like it's kind of, it poses some challenges because there's nobody else to really model or to get inspiration
Yeah.
from, but it's also a good thing because it's a complete blue ocean as long as you position it properly. So I know kind of the biggest thing at the start was really figuring out the messaging, because like, as you know, it's like, bro, ads are the easy part. Anybody can make an ad. Like my dog can go make an ad and record it and launch it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be really, really profitable. What was kind of like the biggest thing, biggest takeaway, biggest insight, revelation, lesson that you learned when kind of going through that process of dialing the messaging? Like, what was that big change for you where it really just clicked?
Yeah, great question. Well, what's coming to mind is some of the homies who are like not quite at the 10K mark, and I really want to like spit something for them if you know,
Yeah.
hopefully it gives them value. Well, because I've talked to them, right? Like we all chop it up, and I've realized how much our beliefs and limiting beliefs get into this stuff. Like it's weird because we all are pretty much masters of personal development, but then some people still say, "Oh, my niche is this, my niche is that." It's like that's the same thing as an I am statement. You know what I'm saying? So if anyone's niche is broke, it's mine. I hate to be that guy because everyone says that, but it's like, bro, fucking musicians and rappers, come on, like try to find a broker niche than that, right? The thing with me, so interesting story. This is like a fun business story. So I'm on my 7th ad currently. This is so 7. So everyone also keep that in mind. Like all you guys are at 1, 2 ads, and you're like, my ad's not working. I'm like, dude, fucking, you have like 7 more tries, bro. Like keep rocking. Let's keep moving. Like you need to keep just testing.
It took me 4 months.
Yeah, right. Like how many did you do? You had somewhere like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, something like that. Probably more than that, to be honest. Like closer to like 8 to 10 over the span of like 4 months, and then really, really cracked it. And now I
So there
haven't
you go.
touched it. Now I haven't touched it in like 6, 7 months. It just prints.
Yeah. It's almost like saying like it's obviously like it's not, this is not a hard rule, but it's almost like just think that your first 5 ads are going to do nothing. It's kind of like what Jeremy says, inputs over outcomes. Like if you know your first 5 ads won't do anything, don't worry about the outcome and just keep testing, then you'll be fine. But back to like what worked for me and what didn't. So
Yeah.
my first few ads were doing like okay, pretty good until my one of my ads did really good. Kinda. It was at a 6x ROAS, right? Which is like, oh my God, 6x, which was high, but my show up percentage, so amount of people who showed up to booked appointments was like 45 to 50%, which is very bad. And my closing percentage was between 20 and 25%, which in the industry is good, but in summit acquisition land, that's actually really fucking horrible because we play at a higher level. So, and I knew that. And I was like, hey, I know my ROAS is good, but I'm getting fucking beat up, right? You told me kind of a similar story that happened with you. So I was like, okay, I need to fix something. And so the difference was I was going after people who needed to be saved rather than going after people who were already winning and wanted more. So my first ad was like independent hip hop artists. This is why you're stuck. And now my ad, I don't even call out a person actually, which is quite different. I just say, are you looking, or like, you know, have you ever wanted to produce your own music and live out your dream of being an independent hip hop artist? It's more playing on what they're desiring and like kind of their goal. And I mean, I still get some people who are financially disqualified. It totally happens, but show up percentage last month was 80% and my closing percentage was 38% with 16K cash collected. It's pretty fucking nice. And the overall ROAS is about 4x. So it's not 6x, but it's like, dude, it's a nice clean 4x. It's really scalable.
And it's funny, man. This makes me laugh every time I hear it because, like you said, our standards inside the community are so damn high where it's
Yeah.
like a 4x, a 6x is like bad.
Yeah.
But then in reality, I know so many people, like just from being in like the advertising space for like literally like 4 or 5 years, people would kill for 4x ROAS. People would kill for a 3. It's funny. Like I was talking to a client last week as well, just before flying out to Mexico. And he's like, hey, like my ads aren't working and like I don't know what's wrong. I'm like, okay, like what are your numbers? Like how much did you spend? How much did you made in the last 30 days? What's your ROAS? They're like, oh, it's an 8. I'm like,
Bro,
brother,
come on.
it's not an ad problem, it's a you problem. Like, crank the budget. And it's crazy. Like, for me, it seems so obvious to like just run more just run ads, because it's so consistent and predictable. And like, you want more clients next month? Okay, double your budget, right? It's like inputs lead to outputs, pure cause and effect. And like, that's really hard to do with any other medium or outlet as well, like and whatnot, because this is like, it's very linear. And of course, like, ROAS does kind of diminish. It does decrease at scale. Like, when you're spending like $1,000 a day plus,
Yeah.
it does start to drop a little bit, no doubt. But even still, like, you can turn $1 into three. Like, you're laughing, you know?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I think,
it's
yeah,
yeah, it's like if you turn 1K into 3K and you do that every day, it's like you're not gonna boo-hoo about, oh, it's just a 3X. It's like, yeah, but
yeah,
like that's a pretty big profit.
yeah. And then turn that, and then so 2K profit, dump that back in ads next month, turn that 2 into 6, and then now you got 4K profit, dump that. Like, that's how you scale. Right. And a lot of people, like, one of the questions I get from prospects all the time is like, how much should I start spending on ads at the start? How much budget do I need? I'm
Mm,
like, well, enough to start seeing results. Like, the more you put in, the more you get out, for sure. But we also don't have to empty our bank accounts right away, because we need to establish proof of concept, and we need to test a whole bunch of different angles, a whole bunch of different variations and hooks and stuff like that. And once we do find it, then we scale the piss out of it. Right. And then just like really double down, and then you're off, you're laughing. But even like with where you're at right now, because you just kind of changed to the current ad you're running right now about a month ago, right? And like, it was
yeah.
last month. And what I've seen, and this kind of follows what I talk about a lot inside the program, the 30-day rule, where it's like, on average, I got this from Fanatical Prospecting, and it's a great book. I remember reading this in my parents' basement like 4 years ago. And the one thing I took from it was the 30-day rule, which says the marketing activities that you do today, you won't actually see the true effect of them for at least 30 to 90 days out. So you're just creeping up on that right now. And I think you're
Mm,
in such, like, to be able to get a 4X ROAS that quickly. Like, think about all the people that are now in your ecosystem that joined over the last 30 days that are going to start converting now. Most of my prospects, they don't convert on day one or week one. Like, last week, bro, we were on a yacht, had a 15K day on a yacht. And this dude DM closed 10K, came from one of my ads like 3 weeks prior, hit him up, had a conversation, super dry, super cold, one word answers, not much substance there, and then left me on red.
mm.
2 weeks later, hey, bro, been binging your YouTube videos. And then he started qualifying me. He's like, hey, here's my background. Here's kind of what I'm doing. Here's what I've done before. Like, am I a good fit? Can I join the program? I'm ready to piff. And then piff on the yacht, which is crazy. And,
Mm-hmm.
but that just goes to show, it's like, with anything, you have to give it time. And with time comes the compound effect. So I think you're right at the, like, right at the start of massive hockey stick growth. Like,
Yep.
you're right at like day 30. So I think like the
Mm,
next 60 days for you, a lot of those people are going to start really converting now. You're going to keep pumping your audience with more new people every single day too. But then the existing people in there are going to start to convert as well. So I think you're in a really good place. And
yeah.
I truly think that 4X ROAS is going to significantly increase as well.
I could not agree more. So many things, like a couple of things I want to respond to in there is
Mm-hmm.
what you said. So I always thought it was like a dollar amount of like, okay, I should spend this much on the ad. And that's super the wrong way to think about it. I know most people think about it,
Yeah.
but I thought about it as like, okay, my thing was $1,000. Most people's are like 250 or 500. I'm like, no, I need to get to at least $1,000. So on my current winning ad, the day I hit 1K of ad spend, I still had gotten 0 clients. And I was like, shit, I don't know. Should I cut the ad off? But I don't know what I I don't know what told me to keep going. I just like, no, just go a little more.
Yeah.
3K. I said, at 1,100. Right. That's $100 past what I had told myself. I was like, okay, interesting. Let's keep running it. And you use the word time horizon a lot. I love that phrase and that idea. It's funny because like we look at like 14 days, 30 days, 60 days. Like most people don't even look at 90 days. And it's funny because of what you just like, this is almost like a coaching call because of what you just said to me. I'm sitting here going, maybe the time horizon for this ad is like 180 days. Like maybe it's like a 6-month thing. Like maybe this ad doesn't even take off for another 6 months because of what you just said. Like maybe I start running retargeting ads. I don't know. Another thing with scaling, this ad was at 50 a day. And then I went to 70 and then 100 and then 200 a day. All of that within 2 weeks. That's scaling. So hell of an identity shift. And by the way, I was running 200 a day when I had like 3K in my bank account. I didn't even have 6K for 30 days of ads. I was at 200 a day because you're just like, you told me to. You're like, well, do you hate money? Our favorite phrase, do you hate money? I'm like, I kind of like money. I'm going to keep going. And I'm just, honestly, I'm just kind of staying consistent at 200 a day right now, kind of cleaning stuff up. But when you scale, you got to get ready for an identity shift. And to be honest with you, like for anyone listening, there's a lot of fear that goes into spending that much money. And you just got to say, fuck the fear and, be ready to live under that bridge if it comes to it. Like, not that that's ever going to be that way. But for me, I was like, I'm so fucking afraid. I'm not even worthy to spend 200 a day. I'm not that. But Jeremy told me to. I was like, I'm just going to fuck it. Like, I'm just going to listen to Jeremy and just do it. So with the scaling thing, you guys just got to have that mindset of like, I got to get it by any means. Just do it.
I love that, man. I remember when I was spending like $30 a day when I first started, it terrified me because I've spent a lot of money, a lot of other people's money, but when it was
Okay.
coming out of my account for the first time when I launched this offer, that was a whole different story. And I remember like I got to the point where I was spending $100 a day and I set my billing threshold on Facebook. So it would charge my card every $100. So it would charge my card once a day. And so I get a notification. And then over time, it started to sting a little bit less. And exactly what you said, it's like, fuck the fear, because what that is like, that's your current self keeping you at your current level. And if you want to elevate to that next level, well, guess what? New levels, new devils. It's usually the scariest thing, the thing that just is the most uncomfortable, that just like makes us cringe the most when we think of it. It's that thing we just need to lean into and do in order to break free to that next level. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Very powerful.
The new levels, new devils. I never heard that before. That's a gem. I was gonna grab my essay notebook, but we have a recording. I'm gonna write that one in there like that. That's a major gem. Major gem. Let me ask you this, bro. I mean, I know you're interviewing me, but fuck it.
Go for it, bro. Let's go.
No, I want to ask you. So, like, now I'm in the phase, right? I'm at like 16K, 20K, whatever. I'm trying to take it there to the moon. I will say, let's just say my next phase. Well, I don't even know what my next step is, but monetarily, I don't really care. I know it's leadership, right? Systems, things of that nature. So, yeah, I mean, what would you fucking tell me to do now? Like, I'm at 16K. I'm still doing 200 a day. I've got a setter who's awesome. Yeah. I think the biggest challenge I've had is just kind of my time. It's very difficult for me to like do everything, create content's really tough. Just kind of give me your sense of like what you feel like I should do now.
Great question. So kind of like what we talked about last week at the retreat, it's going to be a matter of like, it's kind of like two-sided. Scaling until it breaks, until you hit your pain line and start to kind of like get burnt out. And once you kind of notice you're coming up to that point, it's like the thing is going to identify itself as to what you need to work on and fix then and there. Because right now you can kind of foresee it a little bit too. It's like, okay, like for example, back in August when I did 220K, it was very clear as my back end that was going to be broken. So then I'm like, okay, I got to pump the brakes a bit. Otherwise, like if I keep this up for another month or two, because I was signing a client every single day. It was nuts. You saw it in the community. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it's just me coaching. It's just me on the back end. Like I'm basically a one-man show, which is insane. So I was like, okay, that's my next move. I need to build real systems and actually build a bit of a team as well to help me with that. A big thing that I got from one of my new mentors, Dan, because I hired a couple guys, Dan and then Alex, to help me do that, to kind of get to that next level, was when you have new opportunity, like when you make new sales, sign new clients, it shouldn't be more painful for me. Each new client shouldn't add to my workload, because it got to the point where I was like, I don't want to sign any more clients right now. I literally was like turning people away. I had to increase my prices and stuff like that. So I wasn't really like, I couldn't foresee that like the month prior. I had no idea that was going to happen. Right. But once it kind of got to that point, I was like, okay, now I need to fix this. So I like, for where you're at right now, I think like probably the next thing that's going to break, and a lot of the time it is like just the back end. You're going to be signing too many clients, and then it might go, because like you've been doing some split pays too. Like your offers 3K, sometimes letting guys in for like 1K up front, right? So you're collecting less cash up front, and then more volume of clients coming in too. So the volume might start to become a little bit of a burden for you. So then I would really just kind of ask yourself, like, okay, how can I build a program, the course, in a way that really offloads a lot of that operational, like, kind of complexity and operational drag? How can I build a better program? And like with the new modules in the program about delivery and fulfillment, I kind of cover my process on that. But essentially, it's like, how can you get better results in a shorter amount of time with less of your time and energy? And when you rebuild the program in a way, because like I rebuilt mine 3-4 times at this point, each time asking myself that question. So I think that's kind of probably going to come up next. I don't think you're quite there yet, but I would just kind of like start to be very aware as you're working with clients, as you're coaching them, as you're signing them up. So, okay, how can I systemize things? Can you eliminate certain things that you're doing that aren't absolutely critical? If not, can you automate them? If not, can you delegate them? I know you just hired an appointment setter recently, so you delegated that. Amazing. Now you just bought back some of your time. Next up is probably going to be like onboarding calls or coaching calls. So maybe you bring on a client success manager to help you with that, carry some of the burden there, right? Most of the time it is like a bit of a back end thing that breaks when you're scaling, because you're assigning too many clients, where you only have so much time in the day to coach, to respond to Slack, to hop on calls, onboard new clients, blah, blah, blah. And then also to like wear all the other hats in the business too. So from here, it's just gonna be a matter of like adding leverage to specific areas in your business that kind of like start to poke a little bit of pain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Super helpful. Yeah, we're actually pretty aligned in that, in terms of like client success. I also agree with you on that. I was going to ask you too, like, do you think price point, how much do you think price point has to do with the type of client you bring in?
There's always going to be exceptions and outliers. I found for myself personally, the more I pay, the more I pay attention. So like last week, I'd spend like 25K on new coaches. I'm very bought in. I'm doing what they say. But if I spend like $1,000, that's like, at this point, it's like, bro, you spent a lot more than that on champagne that we dumped on the floor last weekend. Like, I'm not going to be
Yes.
very bought in, right? So, and obviously that it's relative depending on who you're speaking to. Because like with you, it's like at the start you weren't very bought in, but it was relative because for you it was a lot at where you were at,
Yeah.
right? If it was somebody else, like I've got clients like literally just before hopping on with you, it's like they're doing a couple $100,000 a month. So to them, it's like not that much relatively. So it's a little bit different, depending on kind of where things are at. But I do think that like, just from my experience, the more I pay, the more I pay attention, the more financially bought in I am, the more emotionally bought in and committed I am too. And I think that's pretty universal too. You're going to have the outliers. You're going to have exceptions where people like you just like take it and just run with it and then get results. But I found it's like pretty like few and far between.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One of the things that I'm noticing with my program with like my clients is it's also really few of them that hold themselves accountable. It's starting to feel like I got to do a lot of babysitting. And so like I made this thing like a check-in form based on kind of how you're doing things, but like just that idea. I want to implement it and put the pressure on them, but I don't know if it's the right type of people. Like, don't you I feel like you have a rule. I don't want to say it if it's wrong. I just remember you saying something like, if you miss a check-in a specific amount of times, you're out. Okay, so can you say what that is? I don't want to say it wrong. What the rule is. I haven't missed a check-in, but
yeah, because I mean, for me as a coach, it's like it's hard for me to help my clients if I don't know where they're at. So if they miss a check-in, then I don't know where they're at, where they're feeling stuck or anything like that, right? So to me, if somebody's not doing that, if they're not filling out a form, check-in form every single week, then like that tells me it's like they're not even committed to themselves and they're just going to waste my time. Like just because you buy a program, just because you invest a bunch of money, it does not mean you're entitled to the results. That's only the start. Then you got to show up and actually do the work. That's a whole different ball game, right? So I do think that like a lot of people do really need accountability. Me personally, I'm very self-motivated and like self-driven. I don't, but not everybody's like me. Some people do need that kick in the ass, right? They do need you to like kind of push them down the line so they can actually like kind of get out of their own way and do it. That's where a client success manager could really come into play, because then you won't have to do that. And that's kind of like what I'm working on right now. I've got a few interviews this week with potential client success managers to bring onto my team to kind of like handle the accountability side of things to progress people from point A to point B in my program a lot sooner and a lot quicker and a lot smoother. And like at the end of the day, people like to feel like they're cared for, right? And if they join the program and they feel like you don't really care about them, then like it's going to put a negative taste in their mouth. I do think it's a little bit different for everybody. That is something you could always just ask your clients. It's like, hey, would this be helpful for you? Would you actually use it? And would it actually like significantly provide a lot more value? Yes or no? Because like maybe they just want to learn how to make beats and like kind of do it at their own pace. Some people are gonna be like that.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. I think you gave me a lot of clarity on that.
I love how this call's gone, man. Like it's just been
I knew I
so
was going to finesse it to a coaching call. I knew from the beginning.
I love it. So I love talking about this stuff, man. Like to me, this is fun. Especially because I know like you're just gonna take it and run with it. And
Yeah, 100%.
it's also gonna be super helpful for anybody else that's watching too. Which is like what I aim for with my YouTube stuff too. So I don't want to keep you here forever.
You could if you wanted, but it's all good.
Before we kind of wrap things up, man, what's kind of been like the biggest takeaway for you? Like the biggest key insight, revelation, and then also kind of following up on that as well. What would you tell Lee from like 4 months ago? Like,
I gotta say two things.
All right.
Yeah, I'll say two. I gotta say two. One of them is like the actual information that you're putting together, like your strategy for client acquisition for coaches is fucking good. It's great. It's the best. Like the way you do things is the simplicity. So there it is. It's the simplicity. It's that you've helped all of us build such a simple business. You know, there's a lot of moving parts, which is normal, but like the way we get clients, the way we run ads, like it's really, really simple. It's like, oh, I don't have a website, bro. Like what? People ask me for that all the time. Sometimes on sales calls, they ask me, I'm like, listen, dude, I have like 20 clients and I don't have a website. So you'll be the first one who needs one. Like I say that all the time to people. And I'm like, go check my Instagram. Like it's super easy. So yeah, I would say simplicity. 4 months ago, Lee, what I would have told myself was, I would tell him, dumb it down. You're making it too hard. You're overthinking. You're spending your time on things that you don't need to spend your time on. That's really more like 6 or 8 months ago, Lee, too. 4 months ago, I was starting to get dialed because I was messing with you. I'll say before I met you, I just was like doing a bunch of things that weren't important. Like you only need to do things that either make you money or fulfill your clients. That's it. So if it doesn't make you money, if it doesn't fulfill your clients, then you just shouldn't do it. Just don't. Go do something else with your time. Go contemplate life. So I'd say the biggest revelation is business is simple to understand, but difficult to execute.
Very well said. Simple, not easy.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Lee?
Go on Instagram, Leezy the Gifted, all one word. Instagram and YouTube are the best places, and Spotify or Apple Music if you want to check out some of the music I put out. You know, if you need something to work out to, you need to hit those few extra pull-ups. I'm your guy for that. That's the songs you want to hear. So Leezy the Gifted, all one word, no dots, dashes, or underscores.
Amazing, man. Well, hey, appreciate you coming on the channel, man. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of your journey, part of your success so far. I know we're literally just getting started and we're just getting warmed up. It's going to be very cool to see where you're at 12 months from here. And it's going to be insane at the next client retreat as well. To be completely honest with you, man, I don't know how we're going to top this one, but I will say, I do love a challenge. So I'm looking forward.
That's exciting. Thanks a lot, Jay. Thanks for this opportunity, bro. This has been great. When I watched Chase and Alex and Steph and Andrea, I was like, bro, I'm going to be on one of these YouTube videos. So this is crazy that I'm on one.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. And if you have been watching this video, you've gotten some value and you're looking to really level up and take things to the next level in your coaching business, you know what to do. Shoot me a message on Instagram, link in the description if you need a book and a call as well. But yeah, if you're doing usually at least 5K a month, like I don't work with total beginners anymore. I can definitely help you out, and we'll build some real systems so you can start scaling up and making some big boy money. And one last thing I'll say is on the plane ride coming home a couple days ago, I was looking at one of the photos of our whole crew. Like there was 19 of us there, and the previous month from the 19 of us, I think we did about 750,000 cash between all of us, which is insane.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
lot.
in a month, yeah, which is crazy when you think about it, because like most of us are in like our 20s and like a couple of like early 30s, and then Tom like 48. But like that really put things into perspective for me. I was like, holy cow. And that's only 20% of the community too. Like there's multiple other guys that are doing 50, 100K a month plus. It's really cool to see that. So and it's gonna be even cooler to see where everybody's gonna be at in the next one. So that
Yeah.
said, to wrap things up, guys, yeah, if you want to learn more about the process, program, and all that, check out the main video pinned to my YouTube channel. Breaks down everything. And then, yeah, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, Jeremy_Pogue. If you need the payment link, just DM close and a little piffy. And then, but if you absolutely need a call, if you want to chat with me and whatnot, then feel free to book in down below in the description. But aside from that, Lee, thanks again, man. Appreciate you a lot, brother. And yeah, see you guys next video.